Welcome to my video titled An Arizona Cop and the Death Penalty. My name is Carl Torsmans. I'm a short story writer and author. And with the exceptions of a few comments, all the data and photos used in this video belong to Paul Heubl, private investigator and friend of mine on Facebook. This video is based on a recent event in the Phoenix, Arizona area where an ex-cop faced a judge on taking the Fifth Amendment in court. As you may have seen in my previous video on Debra Milke out on bail, this is the center of attention on the entire case that deals with police corruption. Police corruption is a form of police misconduct in which law enforcement officers seek personal gain such as money or career advancement through the abuse of power. For example, by accepting bribes in exchange for not pursuing or selectively pursuing an investigation or arrest. One common form of police corruption is soliciting or accepting bribes in exchange for not reporting organized crime, drugs, prostitution, or other illegal activities. Another example is police officers flouting the police code of conduct in order to secure convictions of suspects, for example, through the use of falsified evidence. In most major cities, there are internal affairs sections to investigate suspected police corruption or misconduct, as there is in Phoenix, Arizona. Examples of corrupt practices. Police officers have several opportunities to gain personally from their status and authority as law enforcement officers. They may conduct shakedowns, accept bribes for not pursuing a criminal violation. They may fix under the criminal prosecution code by withholding evidence or failing to appear at judicial hearings for bribery or for personal favor. They may direct criminal activities of law enforcement officers themselves, and also engage in internal payoffs, prerogatives, and prerequisites of law enforcement organizations such as shift and holidays being bought and sold. The last but not the least is the frame-up, the planting, or adding the evidence, especially in drug cases, and in this case, death penalty case of Debra Milke. An unrecorded murder confession is the pure basis of a death penalty case now pending in Arizona regarding Debra Milke and her death of her son, where the primary person involved in this murder case is an ex-cop who has a flawed record of performance and behavior. The death row case of Debra Milke has been ongoing now for almost 24 years. A corrupt and now disgraced former Phoenix cops, Armando Saldate, fabricated a confession after he was unable to legitimately obtain one from Debra Milke. The Ninth Circuit United States Court of Appeals investigated Saldate and found he was a serial perjurer. Aside from Milke's case, 4 other people are doing life in prison and 2 were executed based on his claims. That court reversed Milke's conviction and death sentence, and they also requested an investigation into the violation of Milke's rights by cops and prosecutors during her time where she was detained and interrogated. Political prosecution procedures in a high-profile case such as the Milke case is always under scrutiny, but it happens often, whether in Arizona or elsewhere. A confession alone is not enough. There must also be an actual crime involved. Every time there's a high-profile murder and no immediate arrests are made, it's not uncommon for people to begin confessing. Police agencies, usually desperate to show the media they've solved the crime and more than happy to make an arrest, use confessions as a tool to get a conviction. Such cases also bolster the political aspirations of prosecutors with their eyes on higher public office and more political power. Reading a Superior Court of Arizona Maricopa County case dated December the 18th, docket code 926, regarding the perjury charge of Saldate, Mr. Imbordino, the representative, the current Maricopa County Attorney Bill Montgomery, orally confirmed that his office does not intend to prosecute Saldate for any past testimony. The court notes, however, that the county did not provide Saldate with a written letter guaranteeing him that he's free from prosecution now and in the future. The statute of limitations on a Class 4 felony is 7 years. Furthermore, the county has no jurisdiction over any federal perjury charges that may arise from Saldate's 2010 testimony, and cannot assure Saldate he will not be prosecuted in federal court. To summarize this Saldate has a right to decline to testify, and his claim of a confession from Milke was and is the only evidence against her. Prosecutors are expected to appeal to the Arizona Court of Appeals, but it's highly unlikely they will accept jurisdiction. That rejection will be expedited and Debra Milke's nightmare will soon be over. Those are the words of Paul Heubl, private investigator who has followed this case from the beginning. Paul Heubl first interviewed Debra Milke when she was first arrested on the murder charges of her son's death, and has followed this case intensely from every angle there is on the judicial side and investigative side. He has often commented how this was a wrongful act conducted by a corrupt cop with the intention to bring murder charges to a person he set up for the death penalty based on his word and his word alone that she confessed to the crime. Maricopa County Attorney Bill Montgomery announced that they are having a press conference and basically acknowledged they will still go ahead with a retrial of Debra Milke after the disclosure of Saldate's performance or lack of performance. They will still pursue the death penalty. The announcement was no surprise except for his comment and purpose to disclose his plans to reintroduce a disgraced former cop tainted testimony to another jury. This case is not an ordinary case. This is a capital murder retrial of Debra Milke. Sources: www.crimefilenews.com. Please go look at it and look at the data and photos provided by Paul Heubl. As always, thank you. Be safe.